wrong, but it just come.
Okay, guys, you're now live on YouTube.
Okay. We're live on YouTube. So, Chairman, if county attorney's supposed to be here, I guess we go on treasurers.
Okay, yeah, we will,
I think I hear.
okay, we'll just give her another minute here. County attorney's up. We'll see if she enters the courtroom. And there is the county attorney. You would have a seat there.
We're ready for you. We're live too on YouTube.
You are not. Are you? Okay, hello.
Thank you for pulling out of your busy day and meeting with us.
Absolutely. Do you say, do I have one or do I need one? Need one.
We've been just going down line item by line item. We're not at this meeting talking about any kind of salaries, just the operation. Okay?
Okay. And as you all know, my budget is primarily from the state. There's just a small amount that's from the county. I just have one employee right now that is under county funds, and that's Tina Heiser. She is the one who handles all of the tax, delinquent tax collections. Understand the year that we're in and the year that we've had. I would say that she's done an outstanding job, and those collections have increased. I would love to be able to provide some form of a raise for her, if that is within the operating budget of the county. Other than that, I wouldn't have any additional requests.
I guess one thing we need to consider is we're going to build back the child support office. So I don't know if we need to create some type of line item in this budget to build that back. Jenny, that may be a question for DLG. So because we don't have we've got some plans now, but we're just not in the bid stages yet.
And two, I added to the telephone line item. The telephone, they're paying $289.66 a month on telephone, so I upped the budget to $3,500 on the telephone line item. And then added the line item accumulated leave time. That would be $700. So what we're doing is we're adding to everybody's budget the line item for accumulated leave time, so that if somebody has accumulated time and they quit or retire, whatever, it doesn't come out of your salary line item.
Great.
So that's what we're doing.
And what was that?
It was 700.
7.
Mhm.
So 21 on your telephone line item 5730. We're going to take it to 3,500. Is that okay, Catherine?
Absolutely. Is that, Jenny, is that more consistent with what is being spent, or,
Yes. Well,
or is that just to provide cushion?
no, your line item, I actually transfer money into that line item.
Okay,
So it's basically what the phone bill actually is. So I just took that $289.66 and multiplied it times 12
okay.
and just did it that way. So I don't know if they must have gone up or something since the last budget.
Right. And that also includes all of the telephone also includes the internet service and all of that, correct? Because I'm fairly certain that's through
It's-
county funding.
it's
Yes.
subsidy,
Mhm.
yeah.
What about the utilities? Is that just for the office you're current, that you're in, or is that also for
The child support
the
office.
child support office?
No, sir. The utilities there, everything is separate. Everything is separate and
Okay.
it comes out of that contract funding. So the utilities that are listed here is just for our building on West Main.
So the furniture and fixtures and then the office equipment, 0 to 0. So you're not having any need of that at all.
No, not currently. And like I said, we operate under state funding and also county funding. And so through PAC,
Okay.
we're able to get, so far, we've been able to get what we need as far as equipment and things.
I guess this will be when we get into the child support office and basically the state would be leasing the building from us. What about the current furniture that will be going into the new building? Or what are we looking like there?
That I would probably need to do an inventory closer to
Okay.
time when we know. I believe most all of that there will just transfer.
Okay. I didn't know if there's anything else they need to add to that.
I think some of the office space, depending on, some of the office space will be smaller in the new building than it is right now. We have lots of long offices in that old building. And so the only need that I think may arise would be if some of the furniture doesn't fit.
Okay, gotcha.
All right.
All I got.
That's all you got?
Okay.
Okay, any
Thank
other
you.
questions?
No?
Okay,
Thank you,
Thank
Kathy.
you for your time.
appreciate you
Thank
guys.
Thank you.
Have a good rest of the day.
You too.
Okay, that was the county attorney. We have scheduled at 1 for the maintenance. I think we got word that Dennis may not be able to be here. Jenny, correct?
Right.
You want to just to kind of walk through that a little bit? Just. see.
Well, and of course, Nancy, if she was here, she could probably go through it better than I could, but and Jenny, you would have to help me on some of this, what AOC reimburses us that we pay for the courthouse. Of course, I think it's listed in here. The Dennis does a great job of watching his money. As the old saying, he's tighter than Dick's hat band, but and that's a good thing. So as you can see, his pest control, I mean, he doesn't even hardly, unless as needed basis. His contract with other services. I believe, and Nancy would have to correct me if I'm wrong on that, but gosh, I had it right here on the tip of my tongue. Sorry. Well, anyway, I'd have to rely on Nancy on this. Custodial supplies, I think there's actually 2 line items for custodial supplies. There's 3980 and then 4110. So I'm not sure why we have 2, but I believe we need to combine those. Because I don't think one of them is listed for the courthouse.
Well, one of them is 5080, one of them is 5086, so.
Yeah.
I'll
And
check on that,
cause see, one of them, we don't even use at all.
right?
And the other one, we're, we're at 38% on. So anyway, the other is for the lawn, the fertilized lime for the courthouse lawn. That's not an AOC reimbursement. The vehicle fuel, that's for his small truck that we have for maintenance. You can see where he's at on that at 25%. That's a $500. I can't see that we need to raise that any because Dennis doesn't drive very much. He went out to Austin today to help Tracy, but that's as far as that little truck's been drove in a long time. So building insurance, courthouse, I'm pretty sure that's an AOC reimbursed expenditure. The new judiciary center project, that's a new line item that we had last year. AOC, of course, obviously renewals and repairs, which is reimbursed. Courthouse renewals and repairs, which is reimbursed. Phone. Then Dennis's travel. He don't do any travel. Courthouse utilities reimbursed. Vehicle maintenance, let's see, I was thinking he was gonna need some tires for that thing. I'll probably need to ask him about that. Make a note to ask Dennis about tires. Okay. Other equipment, I think that's just small items. Okay, he needs to rent those for the lawn or buildings, whatever. The Ford Drive maintenance and repairs, we're probably just gonna take that out because the only thing we were paying on was the security light. There's no security light. The building will be tore down this year. That's currently on this building, 216 West Main.
Is that not the one that you guys tore down?
I don't think so. Yes, that was it.
Yeah, because that's not
Good.
where we are.
Because the 9,648, that's what it was to tear it down.
Yes.
Yeah, that's correct. So we'll end up doing away with that. But do you want to take that as a new appropriation for the new building that we'll be putting up in that spot? That's what we had budgeted. We just didn't know what it was going to cost to tear down. We have 15,000 left. If we want to create the line item, keep it in this budget as this line item or put it over in the county attorney. It doesn't matter to me one way or the other. But too, once we build that, the state's going to start leasing it from us. So they'll be actually paying for it. So
Well, I mean, if it's associated with the county attorney's office, it really needs to be there.
I would think unless DLG says otherwise.
Another question I ask, can
Yeah.
move it over to county attorney, just like we would do the coroner deal, you don't care to ask. And
Well, at some point, I guess, when we get those plans, if we get someone to give us a budget number, whether it's
Right.
75,000 or whatever, 100,000, so we can put that in here. Again, the Ford Drive utilities shouldn't be anymore.
So am I taking that out?
Yeah, I would. Well, hold on, let's don't take that out. No, for the sake, if we need a plug or something, because we do have the Quonset hut up there. We do have the Quonset hut, so
You want to
let's,
just reduce it or?
well, we could, let's just go 2,500 on that. Let's bring that down.
You're talking about the Ford Drive utilities?
Yeah. Because we do have the Quonset hut, there is things inside of it, so unless there may be a plug or something like that, so. Okay, this here, I don't really know what we need to budget for the utilities. because we don't have the building up yet. So I think we do need to keep it as a line item.
We just want to keep it 0 for now, or you want to put something in there? Is it gonna be built?
This year.
So
Yeah.
we might
Won't
should
be
put
built this
something
year,
in there.
sometime.
Just don't know. I don't know if maybe our electric company can take the square footage of the building and say, hey, here's what it's gonna could potentially be annually. Or if we just want to go off of what the county attorney building is.
I would go on hers and get it off of this one now.
6,700 is what she has in her budget.
Cause they can pull the power temporary on the main one. But they can't have a temporary.
So you want to just put 6,000 in there? Or 5, or just to
Look, fine.
be on the safe?
Or
Ready? This one here, Dennis will have to explain that one. I don't know about that on the contract cleaning service. Pest control, again, that would be this building. You can see what he's used. Contract other services, obviously he's hadn't used any. And then there's your custodial supplies. It's in pretty good shape, renewals and repairs. This is where I guess where Dennis is talking about a new roof. I was thinking the new roof was gonna run us about 25. I know he's talked about this for several years now.
The roof
Eventually,
is up a lot too, anyway.
yeah, that we're gonna have to look into this. That's about what it cost to put that new roof on the courthouse a few years ago. So I'm just wondering if we ought to up that to 25. Or just wait, and let Dennis get us a quote.
But if you know you're gonna have to have that, plus you know there's gonna be other repairs anyway, so 25 is not bad.
Yeah, of course, we're already replacing
I know.
the chiller, with HVAC, so that's a big expense out of our way. The utilities, you said you're gonna figure in 3% increase on those.
Yeah, I think so. So what are we doing on the renewals? Are we adding to it?
I'd go 25 on that.
Okay.
3%, so you're
On
gonna
utilities, yeah.
3,000.
I don't think we've made the purchase for the HVAC yet, but I don't think we paid that bill yet, have we? No. So that'll change in the next month or so. Telephone system. I don't know what
You
that,
added on the other, you need to add.
I don't know, because he should be on our system here in the building. I'm not sure what that phone's for. Yeah,
So we can ask.
because I know there was 2 or 3 phones that were took out when we done the
Maybe
switch
his
over.
cell phone or something.
I don't think we pay his cell phone, no. And then maintenance equipment, he'll have to explain that. Obviously, he don't use a lot of it. And then Jenny's done his accumulated leave time on the back sheet. All right. So we just need to get a few answers to 2 or 3 things here. We need to get a quote on the child support building. And if we can move that to the county attorney, we will. But they may say, hey, no, it's gotta stay in your maintenance. And then we'll also need insurance for that building as well. So probably need to figure something on that.
So you'll probably need to add a line item for that.
Probably so. Probably so. Any other questions, guys? We need to find answers for you.
Number on the lead time, Jenny.
That's 5,000.
Any other questions, Mark? Billy?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right. Looks like, county judge and solid waste.
All right, we went over my budget. Y'all have any other questions on that? Do you want Jenny to do the county treasurer's next page and then go in solid waste, or it's pretty short?
Yeah, I don't really have anything to change.
Okay. Just go on to the county treasurer then.
The only thing that I saw that might need changing is computer software maintenance. I don't think I need 10,000 in there this year, since we just upgraded everything.
What are we taking that down to, Jenny?
I don't know, maybe 5
5.
in case something happens. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll reduce.
And then of course the line item for accumulated leave, that's 2,000.
We also talked about the assistant treasurer spot.
Oh, right, yeah, we're
Um,
taking that out.
We're gonna take that out also.
That's all I had on that one.
All right.
That's all your report. So solid waste.
Okay. And Mark, you can chime in anytime because you've met with us on some of these things that we want to try to do, but Jamie, I'll just let you kind of go down through there and because you've purchased the fuel, the uniforms, things like that. So you tell me equipment, what you're seeing.
Let's see, so we're just starting at the top of it.
Yeah, we'll bypass the first two
Uh-huh.
salaries.
So solid waste rental, we haven't rented anything. Is that something we're gonna look into using that for our dumpsters that we're wanting to do? Would that be the line item that money goes in?
Yeah, we talked about that, Judge and I did yesterday. So we're gonna leave that line item, solid waste rental, and then I'm just gonna add one underneath there, like 3648, and put the dumpster rental
Okay.
under that, just in case we need to use that other line item.
And where will the location, what would be the reason for the, James?
For those dumpsters?
Yes, what do you?
Well, we're looking to do a pilot program where we would offer certain private households that are getting complaints, offering them a dumpster to use instead of trying to limit our contacts with them, because we go out every 14 days.
Okay. What will you increase or make that?
We're in court for that.
1,000.
Yes.
Good idea.
Next would be office supplies. I mean, I haven't really needed to purchase anything. We did some odds and ends. I think fuel is still fine. By getting that dumpster, it may actually cut back on all our house visits that we're going to. Uniforms. I bought some uniforms. I'm looking for some muck boots to come up, but I think that line item should be fine. Solid waste grant. I'm not sure what that line item is.
I think that's for any extra grants we can apply for, other than litter abate. We
Okay.
can run them through that line item.
Okay. Memberships, I am only signed up for one membership. On that, there's probably more out there that I just don't know about. Training,
Well, back up to that membership.
Okay.
It looks like we had to transfer in $25.
Looks a little low to me.
So I thought to up it to 100.
okay, yeah, because I think the membership that I did apply for was 75. So I think that's why we upped it that.
Did you say 100?
Yeah.
Okay, and then training. I haven't seen any new training come down the pipe yet, but I'm sure there is some coming, but it would be probably online.
Okay.
I don't know of any travel. Renewals and repairs. We did get the skid steer that was purchased a few years ago. It got some repairs recently. But think of any other.
Do we take those new tires out of this one, or do we take the with?
I don't know.
Okay. She got some new tires. I'm thinking we may have took it out of this line item. And I think this skid steer may have come out of the solid waste equipment. I believe that's right.
And then there's travel. It's 100. I don't see.
I don't know that we actually need this line item. I mean, she has a vehicle. It's, if she's driving her personal vehicle, we'd have to reimburse mileage. So I don't know that we actually need that.
You want to take it?
Can we go up to the waste training and just add 100 on the waste training? Because if you go, you'll have a vehicle, you'll have to have. Or that. Hopefully they'll have that this fall. That was a really good
Yeah.
training. That was one of your first years and my first year.
Mhm.
Excellent training. Hopefully that'll open up. Maybe.
I think
That's in
so.
September.
We talked about with Lisa the other day.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be
So,
So you want
We
to take
take
the
a little
$100
money.
and add it to the training?
well, if we was to be able to do that, it's a couple of day training there.
and then,
Well worth it.
and then take that line item out. Is that what you're thinking, Jeff?
I would like to see it took out and then
Okay.
add 800 on the training. Put the 100 up on the 700, make that 800. Hopefully that training will open
Okay.
back up.
New office equipment.
Computer, good.
Yeah.
Slow. Yeah.
Solid waste equipment. I am looking to purchase a few smaller items this year. So I would prefer that one to stay where it is.
On the equipment, I remember one time when they lost his name, the one that was before you, John. Did you have, like, one of the, when I called like a month or so ago, there was like a couch on the side of it. Did they ever get that one? I know they talked one time of putting that little moon on a truck. Did that, you know, the word? I don't know how you got that. You probably had to have some jail mates or whatever, but did you all, like, if you had a
We have a
deer, how
winch.
y'all getting them off without having to get a skid steer?
We have a winch on the
Winch.
trailer.
They did get that.
Mhm,
So you're able to actually do that?
mhm. Yeah,
Okay.
usually I don't go out alone. I will have someone with me, whether it be a sheriff's deputy, judge, or Tracy, someone
Okay.
else.
Yeah, I was remembering we done that winch deal.
Mhm,
That trailer tilts.
Yeah.
So it tilts back.
So it helps you.
switch right up.
mhm.
Great.
Yep.
I was worried that we didn't have any, but I remember now we did purchase that.
Spring and,
When we bought the new trailer, where did it come out?
Did we buy that litter abatement?
I think it was the grant, yeah.
The grant.
All right, spring and fall cleanup, that's happening now.
Mhm.
We've had a good week so far.
Would you think we may want to try it in small scale this fall? Or what do you
I
think?
think so. We've had several people ask about it. We had a couple of inquiries about possibly doing it over a weekend or in the afternoons. It would be hard to do that, I would think, depending on if our dumpsters would work with us by doing it that way. But
All right.
I think a small one would be fine.
Or maybe just a Saturday,
Mhm,
you know?
yeah.
Okay.
Litter abatement program comes from our state grant.
Okay. And it's 55,000, what we get.
Mhm,
And now a lot of that's based upon, like this year with COVID, where inmates couldn't go out and pick up.
right. It's still based
Explain how
on,
that works.
it's based on our road miles. So our roads haven't changed. But since we didn't pick up, we didn't use all of it. We had to send some back this year. But they still gave us the same amount before. We just trying to use it all.
We just had our hands tied then with that pandemic, so we couldn't take advantage.
Yeah.
But we're pretty well opened up, Judge, now, you know.
Well, I don't think I don't think we are, and Mark, you can chime in anytime. Mark come up and met with myself and Tracy, Jamie about, we gave the detention center an extra 150,000 or 100,000 or something just to pick up trash on the roads. Well, I don't think we didn't get anything really a lot in return for that.
Mhm.
So our thoughts were to take that portion, put it in solid waste, and then we hire people to pick up garbage. I don't know that if the state's not renewing contracts with the detention center to pick up garbage, especially state roads, we're gonna have to be creative and pick up garbage. And, we could do it through this budget here, and then also utilize this litter abatement grant as well. But
My thought process on that is, it really needs to be here in this budget because Jamie's one deal with the litter, all this stuff. And so, I think that money needs to be moved to these guys. And then if we have the money there, already appropriated in solid waste, I'd be for contracting out the pickup.
Well, it's with this flooding, Mark, and a lot of trash is floating around. We were at a meeting together the other night, and a lot of people were talking about the trash, so we've got to get it addressed. And then it's just gonna get worse when they mow, because that's gonna sling it everywhere, so.
Yeah.
So will that be a new line item?
Well, right below the litter abatement, we talk about the Trash for Cash program, and that's what we're gonna try to push real hard first. So Trash for Cash, you get $100 for a nonprofit per mile. They have to pick up both sides of the roadway. So we're trying to take applications now to see about how many, and maybe do that twice a year.
So that's something that we pay and then we get reimbursed for?
It comes out of the litter abatement money.
Oh, gotcha. So we can just move some of the litter abatement money down to that line
Right,
Okay.
we just need to figure out, our caps on, are we gonna allow them to do unlimited miles or so many miles, and how many we're gonna allow to do that.
item. Okay,
Um,
so the money that he's talking about that we gave the jail, put into your budget, will that be a totally different line item?
Yes,
Okay.
I can answer that, yes.
How much money were you talking? Or as far as-
Well, the judge threw out some numbers, actually, you remember right at the end of the budget.
I remember you all.
Last year, right at the end of the budget, when we were negotiating with the jail, I asked the jailer, he said, take $75,000, figure it up. We said, we offered 150, but in essence, it takes about 100,000. So, and, we put the money there and it didn't happen. We need to put the money here and make it happen.
So we need to make that line item 100,000.
They still owe us that money. Jail.
Good luck getting it.
Well, I know it, but I mean.
Well, well, it's all gotta go to court anyway, so.
That's
Our- As a committee, where we're looking at this is what we're doing. We got a committee meeting. So we're all gonna bring it to the court. So you wanna put a 100,000 line item in that new line item now, and then we'll present it when we meet in court.
I'll have to look up the numbers to see what.
You look up-
Well, we gotta start somewhere. We can just put 100 today attentively. I mean, we're all
You
going.
may come-
So that's a new line item called what? What do
I
we,
have to look that up.
I mean, in other
I
words,
mean, I know, we can, I guess, call it whatever.
right now, just a new line item trash pickup right now.
Contract trash.
There's the two examples, the 19 and 20.
Okay, yeah, right there it is.
Jay.
Jamie Shaw.
Oh, she,
So each year I have to turn in the numbers for what trash has been picked up, what roadways. This is, for 2019, how many roads were picked up. Obviously, it could be some of the same roads, but it's when they went and picked up trash, and
Right.
this is what I received for 2020.
Now, keep in mind, we increased
I understand what you're saying.
money pickup, so
We can do that last year.
He took the money.
When we talked to Frankfurt, they gave us some options on what we could do. A possibility, another county has done is hired kind of co-op students, like seniors. And he took 8 students and picked up trash all summer and cleaned up their county, paying them roughly $9 an hour.
Jamie, is there a way you could, maybe contact some other counties and see, if they are using contract labor to pick up trash? If they are, what's the cost? Is it based on per mile or how they doing?
I can, Mark, to help you on that, we'll be on another, I don't know if the judge will do it next week or not, but we're starting back on some Zoom, and there'll be a lot of counties we can ask at. We can ask a bunch of questions. We'll find out what, I'll ask, Ben, about-
Being on.
yeah, there are about 20, 30 counties. That'll just help it easier instead of you just start calling. You certainly can, but I'll be glad to ask. I think Monday night's gonna be one, and I'll just tell her ahead of time, I'd like to ask a question on how they're doing on this litter, which you'll
Yeah.
pretty good at information real quick,
Yeah.
easy, without any phone call.
That's true. And
I'll be glad to do it if you want me to.
yeah, that would be helpful because it's get compared to such larger.
I'll make a note so I can tell her. Okay. So that's the new line item, and then your, what's yours, Jenny, on the last one? Lead time.
Oh. That'll be $2,000.
On hers,
Uh-huh,
2,000 lead.
yes.
So we talked about a new line item then for trash pickup. Okay.
For contract, or whatever she legally
Contract.
put down on it.
So we'll just take it out of here.
Get that on the, 5548. Abatement trash for cash.
No. It's gonna be a new
A
line.
new one.
Oh, new line. Okay.
Well, let me ask this question. Will the county inmates, on the litter abatement program, they'll still be picking up trash, right? In addition to us contracting inside or not?
They can, I believe they can.
We hope so.
Well,
But we went
Well-
from 5 crews to 2 crews that I know of, 2.
But won't they need to? They'll still have to pick it up, so much trash, because on your litter abatement program, since they didn't pick it up, we had to give so much of that money back. So we need them picking up to the $55,000 amount. Does that make sense?
Because we sent 24.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's helpful.
24 went back.
Right.
Yeah, it would help
So-
us not contract
So there's
out.
no work on contracted out. They still need to be picking up too.
Yeah, and they enjoy, like, they really do. The inmates do, I know.
Right.
They get out, they get them out of there.
We've got a year of it ready to pick up, so there's plenty out there to do.
Yeah, I picked up, last Friday, I picked up the intersection of 1297 and the outer loop and picked up 60 pounds of trash just at that,
Just,
at that intersection.
well,
Did they have free picking up for the state,
Mhm.
free group for it?
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry about the county anyway.
Yeah, we had 6 crews total, 3 for the state, 2 picking up trash and 1 mowing crew.
Yeah, and the litter abatement grant is all public roadways, so it doesn't limit them to just county roads.
People bad about throwing that trash.
All right.
thank you for the job you're doing. Thank you for
Thank you,
your
Jamie.
time.
Thank you, James.
We're moving on down. We're right on time for drug trust force. And you have a copy. What we've been doing in each department, just operational. We're not talking about any salaries on this.
All I have is from last time, from the, what she gave me in January 1st this year.
Mhm.
You need to see a copy of your one you have right now.
Yes,
I think it's, looks,
I'm gonna get it today from you.
there we go. That's fine.
Is this copy?
It's exactly, but it's, this hers may be a little bigger for you to see.
Jeff, you want Ron just to start going down through
Yes,
there?
Ron, if you line item by line item, if you want to talk to us on what your
Well,
forecast.
I'm gonna skip the first one, if you don't mind, go straight to the second one, come back to the first one, if that's all right.
Has that got to do with salaries or anything?
It's, well, it's still wanting to add another detective.
Mhm.
Rest, everything else is pretty much gonna stay the same,
Okay, you're not asking for anything on that.
just an extra
detectives
Okay,
all,
we had talked about that earlier in the month. Okay.
right? Can I talk about it more, or is it something that don't want to be a problem? right
Judge
now?
can answer that.
Well, if it's a new, I'm gonna say if it's a new line item, we probably need to go ahead and discuss.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of course, as you knew before, Glasgow pulled their 2 detectives out. Still no idea when they're
No
gonna put one
update.
back in. No.
Okay.
Since then, my sheriff's department guy, went back to the road. Right now, they don't have anybody that they can put back in. I think hopefully in the next couple of months that might get resolved. Right now, I don't have anybody. Allen County's detective is on the DEA task force. Right now, he still helps us, but he's not full-time with us right now. The city of Cave City has lost, they're down 3 officers. So my detective is working the road some and working with us some, so I have him about 50%. So what it boils down to is I've got 2 detectives right now, full-time. Last year was the second highest meth seizure that we've ever had. And this year is already looking like it's gonna be higher than last year. I think 2020, we seized 1,542 grams of meth. 2021, we're already at 1,501. So we're only 42 grams away from the whole total of last year. I'm really dire need. If I can get it approved for the next fiscal year, that would be awesome. And if it is approved and if there's any way I could go ahead and get one now, I think with the budget I currently have, I can crop it down to where we can go ahead and pay him for the next 3 months without any extra cost to fiscal court.
And this person will, if we're gonna create a new line, what's gonna be the name or how you, what position is this person? in
It'll
your-
be under the first line item of BTF deputies.
Just be another deputy.
Yes, sir.
What would be the total on his position? Anyway. Salary, I guess.
The salary would be 15 an hour. I figured out about 5 hours a week overtime. And salary without finish would be $37,050 a year. With fringe, I think it came out to 54.5. And like I said, if you divided that by 4, with there being 1 quarter left in the fiscal year, it'd be around, with fringe, 13,006. And I think I'm estimating what the next 3 months would be like on our report that we had to pay. If I can trim and cut, I could have that, pay his salary, and if I go over, I've got extra money in a special law enforcement account that I can use to make up for it for
So
this year.
Line item under deputies, Jenny, looks like it's gonna have to be around 71, 2, or somewhere in there, if my numbers are right. If this is before, I don't know if you're used to.
But
Okay,
before the fringe, it's
So
looking
we're
like
looking
it'll be
at
76.
at least that has to see somewhere around 72 to meet what he's asking.
Well, I've got, yeah, it'll be around 76.7, 76.8.
Let's see. Counting the 38.7 is what I'm going on, and then you said, what was the number? I thought you said 37.5 could get that person,
Yes,
roughly.
yes.
Well, let me see.
I don't think we were discussing salary. The current detective that I have, I think he's at 1608, and
76.
I think averaging his out was gonna be 39.7.
Right, so it needs to move to $76,200, correct?
I got 76, 767, give or take. And that's based on a 5-hour a week overtime.
So you're gonna do 77.
Yes. And we'll present that to the full court. We know we talked about it a few months ago, and you've not give us any new update on anybody else coming in, helping out or anything. So we're gonna have to make this decision as a court.
Yes, sir.
We've got to do this and try to get that in the budget. Is there any other thing you said, we're going down line item by line item, that you see any kind of increase on?
Besides salary, no, everything should stay the same. Most everything is through our grant, so
Okay,
nothing should change.
And the accumulated leave time is 7,500.
you understand what she's, we're adding another line item, Jenny.
We're adding a line item to everybody's budget for accumulated leave time, which helps if somebody retires or quits that has accumulated leave time, so they don't take it out of your salary line item.
Okay.
We're putting some money in there to cover that.
It was actually helping you if
Fantastic.
somebody quits
Right.
instead of robbing your up at the top.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You have any more questions for us as far as the committee and anything else that you want to ask us?
No, sir, you all, as always, are fantastic. I really appreciate everything you've done for us.
Well, thank you for what you do. Billy, you and Mark got any other questions on concerning this new person?
I'm fine.
Okay,
Thank you all very much.
thank you.
Susan need a foot prop or anything.
I'm sorry.
Susan need a foot prop or anything.
Anger management.
77 on the top line. And then
You're in
70.
there.
I'm not going there.
All right.
Might need a deduction person.
I'm not telling her.
Me either.
Just keep throwing, I'm trying.
I guess we better leave her alone, because I ain't doing it.
Yeah.
I'm saying on the big side.
Thank y'all.
Thank
Got
you.
two more.
All right. Perfect timing. Perfect time.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I apologize. There's a chance to print out something straight.
You want me to go bring the copy before you? I'll be right back.
We got a minute or two.
Yeah, we're running. It's good.
We're good. Give us a minute here to.
Call in motel.
Here, yeah, we're early anyway, so give her a minute.
Well, season getting about ready to start. Stay home. April 12th. Really? Mark, you good stuff.
They turn us on.
No.
Are you serious?
Your guy, the first thing he asked, take that return. It's like,
Mark, you just need to go get a haircut. So,
We'll pick a good day to have it.
yeah, they just don't cut out. but-
Yeah.
Y'all pull a lot of
You
April
know?
Fools on people, get a lot of money and not get.
That's right.
Ruby. Ruby, her name, what's his name? Nathan? You know, they put the new barber shop in, it used to be. Oh, yeah, you told me up from West Main. Yeah. Keep thinking every day.
I gotta do a reminder.
Mother, and son, I bet they charge you.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
I'll be watching.
We were charging that.
Hey, I just said, Jane Bird, put them out $10. But every man's best $10. Good too. I mean, I think you do. My area.
Okay, what we've been doing, Maxie, is going down line item by line item. If you want to, we're not talking about any salaries or anything on that right now, so you can just start at the top if you want. if you got any notes or anything, what you want.
I don't really have anything new that I want, just, other than maybe I would like to eventually see just some type of, structure on the back of that building. Everything else, I mean, as far as funds and things, I know I've had kind of a crazy year last year and my budget's kind of all over the place, but, I don't know, just no way I believe you could budget for what I had to handle out there. I don't really see that I need anything different than what we do, or what we have budgeted. I guess more so to see what y'all's concerns are, y'all's thoughts on the budget and things of that nature.
I'm also on your Trent's committee. What was you mentioning about a dish? I don't know about a need there.
We had discussed, even when, I think it's one of the very first meetings, I talked about maybe putting a lean-to on the back of that building.
Oh, okay.
I don't have the costs. I don't think it would cost no more than about $5,000 to do that, but I would have to try to pull in some contract labor to help me do it, me build it myself.
Okay.
I can try to get those numbers for you together rather quickly. I've just kind of been busy with signups and things like that. I wasn't able to get an actual quote for that. I don't know what day was it you called me. We had a budget meeting, was it Friday last week?
Yeah.
And
it
I've
was
had
kinda
quite a
quick
bit going
together.
on.
Yeah.
So,
On your rec food line item,
mhm.
you started out with 12,000 and we're already
90.
99.95. Do we need to, for next year, do we need to increase that line item?
See,
or is
that's where my budget has kind of went to pieces because in all actuality, my season didn't start till after July 1.
Mhm.
So what we would have budgeted for this spring season was actually used up during that time of COVID season, that July 1 all the way through. So kind of the season, the 2020 year, it all kind of fell back. We didn't use as much, I'm sure. I don't know what was returned back, but yes, we will have to make adjustments to a lot of that. Because like I said, what would have been budgeted for this spring, we actually used from July to October of last year. Does that make sense?
So instead of having 2 seasons, you're gonna have 3
We're gonna
seasons.
have 3 seasons in
Yeah.
1 year because the way COVID made us fall running. See, we couldn't start until after July.
so do we need to add to that?
We will have to,
Do you know?
yeah.
Do you have an idea of like the third ward?
To be honest with you, I don't know. We've got more numbers this year than we've had. We're 600 kids. Got 348 games to play just for a spring season. We've got 21 T-ball teams. I don't know that there's a way to figure how much we would need or not
Well,
need.
so that 12,000 is based on 2,
Right.
right? So if we add another 6,000 to that for 3, that makes it like 18,000.
I think that should
Is
be,
that,
yes.
is that a fair number?
Yeah, I think that
or-
would be a fair number. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
6,000 more then.
Yeah,
Rec food.
rec food.
18,000.
Are we gonna go line item by line item on this? Skip around.
I mean,
Okay.
we can go down line item by line item.
We'll start with contracts to private agencies, Nancy. Excellent. Want to.
What kind of basically falls underneath that? Jeannie, do you know what
Well, I was gonna ask you that question. Let's
see, I don't know what kind of came out of that. I don't know.
Well,
I didn't contract anybody out last year.
I'll have to look into that and see what was included in that.
Unless
because-
that's the contract, are you talking about maybe contract labor for Stephanie, our cook out there, but she would have not, made nowhere near that kind of money.
No, it would have had to been hiring somebody to do something, I would think.
Yeah.
I'll check into it and see what it is.
Because what we did for the football complex, where we added on, all that came off the prior budget prior to this one. So I have not contracted anybody out for anything like that.
So I don't
I'll
know.
look at it and let you know.
I don't know whether you had to pull that to kind of help me from the
I will.
COVID stuff.
I will.
Well, what about the floor, the concrete floor? Put in the building, is
That would have been prior to this budget.
prior to this,
Everything was done prior to me being here, all on the maintenance building.
even, there on the field, you know, where they put the poles up and the nets. that was prior
No, we
to
was,
this.
yeah, that was prior to me. They came in and refixed those nets, but
Right.
there was no charge for that.
Okay.
He,
Yeah, but-
Kevin Bradshaw came in and fixed those and did not charge us for fixing those.
Okay.
Uh,
Have you purchased any equipment?
Only equipment that would have been possibly purchased would have been for catcher's gear or something like that, but I think that's another line item, is it not? For rec
Oh, yeah.
ball supplies.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I'll look for what came out and I'll let you know.
Yeah, I don't know. Then we got the concessions, gate and score.
What is that line item anyway? Because there's nothing in the budget. I don't know what is CNTRT mean?
Contract, concession, gate. I think that's where we went to contract our concession and gate employees prior to.
Oh, so
Me
we don't
coming
even
in,
need
we
that
don't do
line
that
item
anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, but that leads me to this question. Would it be possible for us to go through budget pass? And since we have employees that's tested, and, actual Barron County employees, to budget for a allotted amount, go the year before. Like say I've got 26 employees and over the summer, I'm gonna spend 26, hypothetical number, 26,000 to allot for that money rather than, because I don't think anywhere on here
No, yeah,
allots
we'll
for
be
me
doing
that.
Yeah.
And I think we could go through and allot for that amount of money and, it would make my budget look a lot better
Yeah,
versus,
that's what
you know what I'm
talked
saying?
about
Every
that
time I'm
yesterday.
in dirt and in the red, it would help me, we got 25 employees, like I had it figured last year, but I think with COVID, we didn't kind of get together for the meeting. I don't remember the exact number, but we had like 26 employees and on average from 800 to, I think, $1,200 all year long. We go through and average those employees and stretch them out across that and kind of budget for that. And that way it wouldn't look like we're pulling and being
No,
in the
we
red
will-
all the
We'll
time.
definitely do that, yeah.
So, and then too, like, well.
I
I'm
mean,
going down
last
through here.
year, when we did, we pulled everybody's salary out of that seasonal assistant line item. Did you want a separate line item for that, or are you still okay with them all coming out of that?
Out of, I'm sorry, I didn't catch it. I was looking at something else there.
You're talking about, what you were just talking about was, I think, paying your helpers, right?
Right. Right.
All of their salaries came out of that first line item, seasonal assistant.
Well, see, I think
So-
that needs to be a little different because I do need, I
Okay.
need a couple employees there
Okay,
to
so
help
we
me
want a
mow.
separate line item.
If that's possible, if
Yeah.
that's something y'all feel that's credible
Yeah.
to do, and I think it would be easier to understand because like at seasonal assistant, seasonal help, I've kind of felt like it would be somebody like Xander that I used last year.
So this coming up year, do you want one person included in that or two?
I would really like to have two to kind of
Okay.
help with that.
All right, and then a separate line item for workers.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Concession stand, scorekeepers, gate.
Okay, and so we'll just delete that contract concession because we don't contract that out anymore. Okay, all right, I'm on track with you now.
Okay. And then there's times, at times, I don't know whether it makes a difference or not, but there's at times like, I know like last year, years past, I couldn't get somebody hired in and I kind of contracted some guys out to come in hourly to pay wages. I don't know if we would leave that underneath that or we'd still need to keep a contract
I
side of
think
that.
that whenever they're contracted, I have to talk to Sherry about that because,
Do you see what I'm saying? Like sometimes if I got somebody calling in sick, or something, and when our grass is growing, it's growing.
Gotta go.
And I try to work, I don't know if you guys have not been out there much, but I do, I promise you, I try to work very hard to keep our parks looking good. And I work a lot of hours to try to make sure we do that.
Yep.
But, you know, sometimes I need some
So you
help
just want a line item for contract labor,
if that's
and
possible.
occasionally, I think it would be a different number than this, so
Okay.
I'll just make a note to put a line item for contract labor.
Okay.
And do you have an amount that you think about putting in there?
I think that I would need to kind of look and see what we spent over times past. I know Charles used it quite regularly on a lot of things, field prep and different things, but I mainly use it for mowing help and things like that. And maybe, you know, like we were just discussing the add-on addition to that, you know, to hire a couple of guys to come in and help me hold the post or whatever I need. But, you know, I know I'm not coming too prepared for this, but
Would 5,000 be a number to look at? Maybe?
I think,
For contract labor?
yeah,
Yeah, for that, just contract labor, not seasonal or anything, just a line
yeah,
item.
I think that should be.
Do the hiring. You get
Okay,
Let's see, I think that should be plenty. I mean, I don't,
You can look at it and let us know, but I'm just throwing a number out.
yeah, can we kind of look at maybe Charles's budget next year? I think 5,000 may, or the budget prior to me coming in and kind of see what he used on contract. I don't think it would be nowhere near that,
yeah,
go over that at all, so.
okay, yeah, we'll look at it.
Are we skipping on down to the
Yeah.
tournament now? Tournament, I think that's about the same. I mean, this year they're giving us a break on it. We won't use all that. The contract used to be 10,000 this year. They're dropping it down towards 7,500 for the regional tournament. We put 2,500 up front. Of course, we reach out to others across here to try to do that. I'm assuming that tournament is just for that contract, or would that be for supplies and things of that nature? Do you know, Jenny?
I don't know, but I think it would probably just be for that contract, but
Okay, which that's roughly around what that contract would cost us.
yeah, okay.
Even if we have it like this year, I think it's there, but you know, but seasons to come, if we have it again, that 14,000 would be about the right pay scale. Okay. Rentals. I think on our rentals, this is what I rent pretty much. It's gonna have to be across the year. I think, what was it? I think I rented a soil conditioner and things. I'd say $1,000 to $1,200 on rentals
Okay.
should take care of me, because basically, you know, what we've got out there, I use as much equipment as we have, but some equipment I need to rent. I rented a soil conditioner just to get grass out of fields that we practice on and things of that nature. And I haven't rented yet, but a seed drill that we can get to kind of help so it doesn't throw grass seed over into our dirt section of our fields.
What you saying, 1,200?
Yeah, I think 1,200 should be sufficient.
Line item for contracted services.
And other events, I think that's
So-
where they had contracted at one time, maybe having a concert
Yeah.
or something out there, and they moved that at one time.
That's an event.
Yeah.
in itself,
Right,
okay.
So I don't know if so right now with COVID and everything and all the restrictions, I don't know that we need to apply anything at this time.
Okay.
But I'd like to keep it kind of there for future. I would, you know, even if we can get to open it up, maybe we can readjust that.
Okay,
Custodial supplies, looks like you got $500. I think that's considering everything, like my toiletries, everything like that.
mhm,
I think that's a little low.
I do too.
I do too.
Quite a bit low, because I probably ordered in just custodial supplies just here the other day, probably ordered $700-800 worth of stuff.
so where do you want that?
And then that's not even gonna get us halfway through the season, so I'd say that needs to be bumped up, probably closer to 15. And of course, we covered the rec food and prep. Or rec food.
Well,
Prep and service supplies,
What is that? That's just like
That-
spoons and stuff?
Well, I would say that's spoons and where we have to wrap in aluminum foil and things like that.
Okay.
Now that would, I think that should be sufficient for that, paper plates, cups. And we may have had to readjust just a little bit, but I still don't think we'll go over that mark, because we had to put things in lids.
Okay.
Office supplies, I think we're good on office supplies. But I mean, I know it's showing 99%, but that kind of, again, you know, that shows me
Yeah.
from using for, you know, both years. So, gas drawer, it's good. Red fuel, I haven't, that's plenty good for right now. I'm assuming that it's a rec department supplies. I'm assuming that's for my dirt. My
I think that's pretty much anything.
soil conditioners, different things like that to prep the fields and things like that. I think we need to continue with that because it's everyday changing. Not that I would always use that amount, you know, if I don't need it, I'm not gonna use it. So it's welcome to go back. If I don't use it, I'm not gonna go out there and blow it just to be having it. But there's lots of times those supplies can vary in cost. So I kind of like that number. Fall ball supplies and materials, that would kind of fall underneath, you know, the balls, the catcher's gear, because we go through catcher's gear like crazy. They tear up for some reason. I think that's good. I don't think it needs to go any higher at all. Uniforms, I'm assuming that's my uniform allowance to buy shirts and things. I don't think that needs to be changed. I mean, I'm not gonna use it all, I'm sure. Bonds, I'm not certain about that. I'm assuming that's where I had to be bonded.
Mhm.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna, I don't know if it went up for some reason. From 100, it was 153 last time, so I'm just gonna increase that to 200,
Okay.
just for that to be covered.
I see now term and host fees. I don't know if that's, say, I don't know. Of course, we just discussed that just a minute ago on that, where was that at? Oh, the tournament. I think that's the individual tournament, and like if we host other tournaments, because we can host tournaments and things for like Babe Ruth State Baseball. That's totally separate from that one. We've got the contract to hold that this year. So I don't really know what those fees are at this time. Judge, you may be better help me. I don't know what Charles is.
I just know for the one that's coming, and Jenny and I just talked about this, we paid 3,000 down. And then we paid the rest of it in full after the tournament.
Yeah.
Just keep in mind that that's 7,500, we'll be asking for that reimbursement from tourism, so that could be a wash. You know, we had to pay it up front, but if you're planning on hosting other tournaments, we probably need to put something in there, but I just don't know, you know.
I don't know that.
I don't know what that looks like.
There's a baseball tournament coming. We've got it, but I don't know. Yeah, like you said, I don't know what that would look like. I don't know how it's forever changing. Those prices on those tournaments are forever changing. I mean, you might be this one year, might be that the next.
What's the worst case scenario that you could come up with in your head?
I think we play it safe if to put 2,500 in there.
Okay.
Host
At least-
fee. Host fee.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then again, we can go to the league charters. I haven't got ours turned in yet for this year, but that changes. And the reason why that changes is if I've got 20 teams in it, then it's going to be cheaper than like this year where I've got 55 teams insurance. So I know last year we paid out, what was it, $6,000 in insurance, and we're going to be more than that probably this year. 6,000 in insurance and charters.
So that was right before I took over, so I don't really know the number, but I could look it up.
Most all that money is recuperated through our registration fees. You know, of course, we buy uniforms and things like that, and then the registration fees remaining of that, I'm sure, is what y'all use for that. If it's allowable, if it's okay, I can have you leak charter and fees and things I should have within the next 2 weeks. To know an exact number of what we have this week. I know last year was roughly around $6,000, but it's gonna be more this year.
Okay,
Because we, like I said, we got 55 teams this year.
so the league charter fee is, you're talking about insurance and all that? Is that
That's
what
at
you're
Babe
meaning?
Ruth
Okay.
charter, you know, what we discussed with Daniela,
Yeah.
getting you on there so that the bill can come to you
Mhm.
instead of to me. And K insurance, that's all figured in
So
that
that's
charter
all
fee.
gonna be in that line item?
Yeah, that charter fee is minimal. The insurance is what costs us so much.
Okay. So you said it was like 6,000 the year before.
I think that's correct, yes.
You think it'd be over 10,000?
I'd say we've been pushing all over, I'll be honest with you, but I'll know more whenever I get these teams entered in and they send me a bill.
I would put 10,000 just for right now.
Okay.
And then we can adjust it when you let me know.
And on the tournament post fees, we're looking at 25, is that what we said?
Yeah,
25.
25.
Training, as far as training now, I think training and stuff like that, whenever we send these coaches and things to, Babe Ruth State Tournament, regional tournaments and things, they've got to receive training. They're volunteers. I think Charles kind of used this money in the past, and then also for training himself, maybe when he has to get when we have to get certification for, sprayers, certification on spraying. I don't think that needs to be anymore. I don't see that cost has not changed much at all. So I don't see that need to be anymore. Rec department renewals and repairs. I don't know what the renewals are. I know the repairs, basically, that can go up or down. I think that number is a good number. Like I said, as you can tell, if I need to fix something, I fix it. If I don't go spend it. So I'm okay with that as long as you guys are. A rec telephone, there's not. I don't think there's any difference. I think maybe we added a little cell service so we could get cameras down there in the maintenance building. I don't know how much that went up. Was it $30 or something?
Yeah, we may need to add just a tad. You're at 79% right now, and normally it'd be about 75%. So went up a little bit. I don't know.
I don't know that number, but basically just whatever that is spread out. But what it is we added internet to be shot down to the maintenance building so I could run cameras. We had a break in a while back. Of course, all of our main expensive stuff is in that building. We had the cameras up in the concession stands, and so it wouldn't do us much good not to see.
Yeah, I think maybe 2,000.
That okay?
Yes, sir. Rec department travel. I don't foresee that need to be anymore. And then, of course, the rec department utilities. Now I'm assuming that is lights and things like that.
Yeah.
That varies a lot. Now I do know that last year prior to, I know I didn't get a chance to come to last year's budget meeting because of COVID, but I had that figured at just across that full year from July 1 to June 30th. It was $16,500 then. I don't know what it was last year because I've not had a chance to go back through it. So it was the utility bill just for lights alone, $16,500.
Well, you're doing good on that. I mean, you're only at 69% right now.
Yeah.
So I think you're good. And then I think I'm gonna do like everybody do a 3% increase on the utilities.
Vehicle maintenance, as everybody knows, that could every day change too as well, but I think we're good there. I try to do all my maintenance myself without sending it out, so I try to save us quite a bit of money. I think I changed a set of rotors on it the other day and brake pads and stuff myself, and I think somebody else wanted $300 some to do it. I think we changed it for $100. So, you know, I try to do that maintenance myself. No sense in sending it out if I can do it. Furniture and fixtures. I'm not sure.
I don't know, we spent some in there. I don't know what that was.
I don't know, unless it was last year when we maybe bought some, I think we bought like a drying table for, it was like a little screen table, but it wasn't that much. It was like $98. So
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Okay, then you got the cold lighting. I don't know if that,
Before we let furniture fixture, we'll just go ahead. Looks like you spent about 400, put 500 in it.
Okay.
Yes.
Huh,
I mean, the
that's
chair
already
cost.
done.
that's right.
Rec department equipment.
I don't see any, are you talking about, I'm assuming that would be just purchasing of, like
Weed eaters.
Weed eaters, yeah,
Blowers.
blowers, things like that. I think we're good there, because here's the thing, eventually we're gonna have to look into a field machine. And that's, you know, where you go around, drag the fields with and stuff like that. I've been trying to get things together. I think things, but I don't have the cost, and I apologize, and I will try to get that. I think it would be better for us. There's an attachment. It's called an ABI attachment where you can do this field work, but yet you can have a side-by-side UTV that you can use to pull that piece of equipment. Then that side-by-side could be used for other things, taking garbage out, you know, just other things other than just that one thing. We're limited to those machines. That's all they do. And they can sometimes run $18,000 to $30,000. I was looking at the UTVs. I don't have a price yet because I've been trying to get with ABI on the field machine. But I think we had like a 500 Polaris, just trying to shoot ideas with somewhere around 10.5. But then I think maybe that ABI machine, I don't have the exact number, was going to be somewhere around $4,000 to $5,000. But that does all the field cutting, get the grass out, loosening the dirt, all that stuff.
I'd just get with Trent's committee on that, just to be honest, whenever you get to that point.
Yeah, but I've just not quite made it there. So,
So you go with that number, seeing where it's at?
yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
The next two, we're gonna take out the budget.
Yeah, it's paid off.
That's where it's good.
Oh, yeah,
They go.
That's right.
that helps.
The bank fees, I think we need to up that to 200 because we get charged for the credit card machines being used, so we do that.
Insurance, now does that insurance fall underneath, would that be my charter insurance or is that, see, I was assuming that charter would be both of those and I apologize
I
if
don't
that's a
know. Let me
mistake.
check into that, 'cause I'm not sure.
No. So I don't know if that's just insurance that we pay out or just liability insurance or
That's
what.
probably
All right, I
think that's your liability.
I mean, it's probably big time.
Now, our refunds was extremely high. With
Yeah.
COVID and things like that, I had,
I don't think it'll be so bad this year.
no, I've only given out, of course, this year I kind of beat it to it because if they register on our computer, the website, if somebody calls and request a refund, I can refund it before they give us the money. And it doesn't come out of budget or anything like that. It goes straight back into their account, the card they use. To where last year we hit COVID, we were stretched out 90 some days or so. The credit card, they couldn't credit it back to the credit card through them. So we had to actually, the money we received, actually write them a check. So I don't think we'll see very much in refunds.
I still have people who have not cashed
That
those
wasn't your
checks.
fault.
Like I still have a bunch of people.
Yeah, well, we've got them all out except for two, and the one lady never still, she called me first another day wanting the check, and I said, okay. She was there and to pick her kid up or sign her kid up, and I gave her the check. It's been 2 weeks ago. So I don't know. I don't know what to do.
We need to put something.
Uh,
There's always,
Yeah,
it's $45 entry fee. I would say at most, that I'd give refund for this year is 4 or 5.
You want to do $500?
Yeah, that's plenty. I think that's plenty.
And the rest of it will be underneath.
And your leave,
Oh, yeah.
the leave,
Accumulated leave time, $2,500.
Do what now? I'm sorry.
We're creating a new line item for everybody's budget for accumulated leave time for in case
Okay.
somebody, which in this case would be you. If you quit or retire, so it doesn't come out of the line item for your salary.
Gotcha. You're putting 25, said 25 in there?
Yeah, 2,500.
any other questions, Mark, Billy, you have for him? If not, thank you.
All right.
And we'll,
Thank you, Max.
I appreciate it. I'm sorry I wasn't as prepared.
No, it's all good, Lou. All good.
all right, we're gonna go down the list here. Looks like the last one will be the county clerk. Running just a few minutes behind, but we'll see where she is.
If you wanna pull the emergency management, you've got that in your hand. His request is no change,
Yes, sir.
leave as is.
Other than, what's the line item,
Oh, yeah.
the leave?
Yeah, give me a second.
That'll be 11.5. Here's what I got.
I just did 11,000.
Okay, 11,000.
Yeah.
Okay. And then,
Building and electrical will stay the same.
so you did talk with Jim on that,
Yeah, he just said, don't take anything away.
other than, what's his,
Looking for him,
5,000.
5,500.
500.
okay. And, got the, masters. Guess that's
We may have
You want to
to,
go over the magistrate one?
masters goes,
well, that may take longer than any of them. Billy's gonna spearhead that one.
Look at my
the veteran.
Yeah.
Electric official.
Hey, are you coming up to it? Oh, okay. So we're ready.
realize y'all were done.
That's all right, thank y'all, we're running just a little behind, but
I brought Misty, her with me, she's my bookkeeper, and I thought it might help to go over numbers from our side of the fence too. Oh, so, I don't know if you know, Jeff thought,
hey,
no,
no,
Jenny, well, Lord. Bowman. Yes, I'm so sorry, Mark Bowman, Billy Houchin.
Billy, out.
I'm so sorry. Sometimes I have moments. I have more of them
Okay.
lately.
Wait, till we get to-
Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
Unless you just want, I can understand a lot better, are you wanting that mask on? 'Cause I can
No,
hardly hear as
I
it
feel
is,
pretty
and I
confident.
apologize.
I feel very confident in my, yeah, no, I haven't had a shot, but I've had COVID this month or in March, so I'm pretty confident I have full of antibodies right now because I cannot smell or taste one thing. Good, because I had onions on my salad at lunch.
Well, the mic's in front of you, y'all just speak up or we can hear you, and everyone, I know you all.
And
Do you all have your papers in front of you?
Well, I don't know. I don't think you want to give them. Yeah, well,
I gave you a copy of that elections one.
Yes,
I guess
we
we
have
need to
that.
Go to the elect,
We're gonna do elections first. Well, and I'm just gonna give you all this to kind of look at in a few minutes when we get to that, okay? So this one is for elections.
thank you. Thank you.
I should have, made copies, but those two there.
Okay.
Fingers aren't hard.
Good deal.
All right.
All right. budget.
Doing that one first.
Well, he said first.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna go down to the,
Your copy of this.
Somebody give you a copy of what we're looking at up here.
Okay.
does she not have it?
Budget.
I don't have, I have a one you printed me on March 24th, I think.
Okay, well, it's probably gonna be really close to the
To
same.
the-
Yeah, I ran it to the end of the month.
Gotcha. See, that's what we did.
Close.
I didn't have that to look at. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, we're adding a new line item to everybody's budget for accumulated leave time. So that when,
You can,
somebody quits or retires, it can come out of your,
What is that? We'll go on and write that down.
so for the clerk, it's gonna be 3,500. And what I did is I went through and actually added up everybody in your office, how much accumulated leave time they have, just did an average, you know, and this one is based on, based on 4 people. It's 4 people with.
Yeah, I think we had a couple that you were gonna.
I did, I went ahead and talked to, I thought I had 3 that I was kind of not certain where they were, just because of their age. I went and asked, because they've mentioned it. And only one is 100% that she's gonna retire. She'll have 20 years in the end of February,
Okay.
but she hasn't talked with retirement system yet. So I told her she needs to talk to them as soon as possible. I'm certain it's next year, next fiscal year. But I bet it won't be, I don't think it'll be March. Based on Glenna, what Glenna Joe did, I typically it's a
Well, now if we get
couple.
another pandemic, it might be next week.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, everybody may be ready.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Okay, well, anyway, we're gonna put that line item in.
Okay.
there, so
Yes.
that'll be pushing you.
That'll be
Yeah.
3,500 for the year.
Yes, yes.
Do we want to wait? Are we waiting?
I think he's gonna give you a printout.
Yeah.
I'll probably stop this.
But if you do have it, I guess we can get it. I mean,
The election. is what
election
I have.
officers, first line up.
I mean, and Jenny, and I asked Michael for a copy of this morning. I don't typically see this, the
Well,
election
You know, and
budget.
I was asking him yesterday about this too. I have not been including it with the stuff I give to you, but I can.
Well,
Because I wasn't really sure who really handled that. Was it
Yeah.
him or was it you? So he told me he was gonna let you look at it.
okay, yeah, I had, in my time, I had never received it.
Well, I can start adding it to yours. You want me
Yeah, that'd be great.
to? Okay.
Just because, I mean, I realize we turn it all over to the county, we pay for that, but still, I mean, we have to work within a budget, so don't want to
Yeah.
overspend anything ever. And
I don't mind.
this past election was obviously, a presidential election is obviously always going to be your most expensive. And the next election will be the county election. And each cycle I get my first. So this will be my first county election to go through, but that's our second biggest. It won't be as expensive as the presidential. And everything we went through last year with the pandemic caused a lot more, like everything was more. We had to have more workers because we started voting centers, which we'd never had before anywhere in Kentucky. And just this week, House Bill 574 was passed. The governor, I think, will still need to sign off on it, but that will allow Kentucky to continue voting centers and some expanded early voting options for voters across the state. So once we know that's 100% passed, then the local board of elections will have some decisions to make. I feel like we probably will continue to offer voting centers over precincts. But again, that will be a board of elections decision. And it is a more cost-effective decision for the county. So I'm not certain what that will look like. You know, we had 3 voting centers across the county for the presidential election, well, the whole year, for the primary and for the general. You know, we just need to look at that and see if we might, you know, if 3 is enough or we would need more. Early voting is expanded again. They did not expand, which I'm grateful for, they did not expand mail-in voting. That was very expensive and involved a lot of time. I don't know if y'all were up here much, but if you looked in here,
Lots of manpower.
yes. So we won't have that expense. My big thing that I want to bring up again, and we've brought this up before, but I think now more than ever before, we strongly need to consider purchasing new election equipment. I'm not certain what year those were purchased. I should have asked Harp. Do you have any idea? Was it under you, Michael? No, it was before you. I'm thinking, was it 06? Was that too far? Billy, do you know? A very long time. And I'll get the exact year because this is something we probably will need to definitely revisit before because it's a lot. It's a very big expense. I know that Jeff and Tim came to a presentation, and Harp, I talked with them, and they're happy to come back again and share with us, do a better, like a presentation where we bring in, you know, I bring in the whole court if that would work. But we need to look at this equipment. Our equipment, we need to ensure that our voters know that the integrity of their ballot is 100% safe, and that if we do have any kind of a recount, that we have 100% printed out ballots. We have a full paper trail. And with the current equipment that we use, our handicap machines, which we are formerly called e-slate machines, they do not have a paper trail. It's they basically would have to, they bring in a device basically and download data, which would print votes that we would then recount. So with the new equipment, and I have brochures on it, and they brought out some more recently, and you saw that it's a lot more user friendly. It's more secure, and you would have 100% paper trail. And everybody knows, not just in the state of Kentucky, but federally, we saw that was one, you know, huge. That's what everybody wants to see, is a paper trail of their ballots in the event of a recount. You don't want anything coming off of a computer. You want to see a paper ballot printed out and scanned into a machine. And if we need to open those machines for a recount, we want 100% ballot.
But if you go to voting centers where you need as many machines.
So that is what I was going to say. So we're looking at if we kept 25 precincts plus 1 for early voting,
And that's sticking with precincts.
sticking with precincts, it would be, you know, $330,000 roughly to buy new equipment. If we go with voting centers, we're looking at, you know, $170,000. I'm just rounding up. It was like 169, 337.
I just wonder how that would work. Because, for example, in the Masters, you know, we have a district that we're responsible for. Like District 5 is made up of 4, used to be 4 voting precincts.
Right.
Back to Rocky Hill, and then there was 2 that voted at UK Extension Center.
Right.
So if those 4 precincts went away, in other words, those 4 precincts
So those,
Those went away and they're all coming in.
they can go to any one of those voting centers. So if somebody says, I want to go to Barron County High School because that, it's closer to where I'm at today, or if they are up in Cave City and they want to go to the Cave City Convention Center, they can go there. Or if they think, them places are gonna be busy, I'm gonna go down here to Austin because nobody's gonna be down that way, they can go there. With voting centers, you can go anywhere you want in the county and vote. Or under the new legislation that just passed, there will be 3 days, and I wish it was the full 12, but they only allow for 3, and they have to be 8-hour days on a Friday, the Saturday, and the Monday before election day. You can go into their county clerk's office, which I think I'll set up a location because we just don't really have enough room down there to do it. But it'll be 3 8-hour days that any voter in the county can come in and vote early. And then you'll have your 12 days that people that qualify, you're gonna be out of town on election day. You have your age of population or disability. Or I think it's a pregnant woman in her last trimester of her pregnancy. That's the qualifications to vote early, other than those 3 days.
I think I see what you're saying though, in that we maybe expand the voting centers, not too close.
I think that's great.
Expanding the voting centers to be in each of those districts. Is that keeping your folks able to go in that district if they want to, or?
Well, I'm just thinking, people that live out in the county, of course, District 5 really stretches.
Yeah.
It goes all the way around.
Right.
Of course, they're having to come back to Red Cross. For a lot of it, back to Red Cross in their vote. I'm just thinking, well, how far would they drive to vote?
I see. You're thinking about that. Yeah. I guess that was something that, and I see what you're saying, but the local, and I said 3, and I have mentioned this a number of times, 3 voting centers may not take care of it, but,
I'm kind of a nerd and I think about things at 2 a.m. and that is something that I have thought about in the middle of the night, thinking that more voting centers, not so much the precinct, so it doesn't have to be in, but splitting those machines if newly purchased per capita of those districts.
And that may very well be the answer.
and the other thing you have to think about, Mark,
It's going to take a lot. I mean, the first time that we do that,
Right.
that's really going to be communicated.
Right.
Because
even
some of
though-
your older folks,
They know
it's been used to go back to Rocky Hill.
they're still gonna go to Bexton Community Center and vote. And they're gonna be upset when they get there in the doorstep. And I hear what you're saying.
Definitely.
And they call him.
And Mark, you have to understand, we just lived through this last year. I went on every form of media and television, and we talked about it and we preached it, and you did it on your stuff, and they still went to the wrong places.
Right.
And we can try, and nobody likes change, especially when we're used to the same thing. But if you can't find enough poll workers, you can't afford to buy the equipment you need based on everything else. And then the law has changed because they say this is what they prefer. It really worked great. And the majority of the people that voted in the voting centers, they loved it. We got a great feedback.
Mhm.
And it's set up to be fast. You don't stand in line.
Right.
It is all about moving. Keep you moving. And I had all these chairs set up for people I was worried about, if someone older, not able to stand very long or what would have to come. I had all this set up, and there was never a time that they needed that. But I hope that people, especially our older population, I hope they will continue to vote early. People really like that. I think as long as we can get a location that is not here, because it's so hard to park on the square, and it is dangerous backing out. I worry about older people. You don't think so? Okay.
Oh,
I was like,
you're right.
look at it, like, really? Yeah, and that was a big complaint I got. But I had to. There's so much stuff you have to look up. We had to have computers and internet access and everything. And with the pandemic, I couldn't get a lot of places to let me use their facility. So we just stuck with being here. And I knew I could oversee it all. So, but I think we'll be better prepared
Because we're gonna have early voting expanded anyway, so we're gonna have to be ready for like another site, no matter what, for next year, but,
So do you think 170 will take care of the 3?
it would take care of three,
Sites.
and we tried to over guesstimate it just a little bit, because what if a machine is down, or I had to have, like, we had a big turnout, like, we kept opening machines and opening machines, we had to, we set up, I think, 20, we just had to keep, at 20, for voting centers was a lot, and we were just using them, either we had machines, there was something just, we couldn't use it because the locks are broken when we went to open up that machine. So I'm like, I'm not using that one, or the lids aren't wanting to stay locked anymore. There's just a lot of issues with our machines. And once we would start, we just didn't want to continue with it because I didn't want to use anything that didn't look solid.
So are we sold on the 170 for the new equipment?
So how
I'm
many
good with that.
how many machines
we
is
would
that
have
one
to do.
seventy?
You know, we gotta
So
come
you
up-
could get 20 of the,
That's 20
the
machines.
Verity scans, so 20 Verity scans, then you've got to have, you have to have a handicap machine at each location. This would get 6 of those. And then you have to have new report, like a tabulation computer that stays here. And it comes with, you get more than just the machines. You got to have all the other stuff with it. There's a little like thumb drive that you have to have for each machine. You get 36 of those.
I think
What was that number down there on the bottom? That was,
It's 160. Let me just pass this and y'all can.
I'm just gonna put 170 down.
no, that's fine, but that's
Yeah.
all of what
It
you're
is
talking
everything
about is
that-
roughly that
Everything
number.
you would have to run an
And
election.
this was then, have you talked to them now?
I just got this.
Okay.
No,
This
the
is
one I
not-
got before for all
Young man,
precincts,
Tim.
we're looking like, I believe it was over $500,000.
Right. And hopefully some of the, with you having to go into 3 sites requiring less equipment, you're gonna have some older equipment, maybe we'll have some resale.
You
maybe
can,
not.
it will have very little,
Okay.
but I'm gonna get what I can out of it because they're just using it for parts. And if one of those machines as they break, they just don't, and the other thing about this that would be really nice is if we could like transition, like just buy X amount and use, half new equipment, half old equipment, but it doesn't talk to each other. You can't use it.
That's what, yeah.
And I know one county had bought this equipment, but they just bought a little bit and they just used it for one, like I think they just use it for early voting. And then you have 2 different reporting. So it's really not advisable to do that. And it's also not certain yet that the state's not gonna give us some money for it.
I was gonna say for this year, we don't know what kind of.
Yeah, they're still
Everybody will
working,
get-
we're working on that because
Well, I'm
all the
sold.
clerks is kind of watching.
I'm sold on the 170.
We need to make sure if there is a recount, we have hard
Right.
copy ballots to pull out of our machine, of our equipment to recount.
I think Marion County is known for its accuracy.
Yep,
Yes.
absolutely.
And we want to keep that,
Just in the last magistrate, there was one magistrate.
absolutely,
One, but
one by one,
Okay.
and it was right there. I mean, they recanvassed, they recounted, and there it was. That was neat to watch, wasn't it?
So is there anything else in that?
You-
budget
No.
other than
We've
that?
been kind of going line item, line item.
Yeah, I mean,
You want
do y'all know?
to shoot up from there, we just go up, go to utilities, and let's go up from there. We got the new election, new equipment at 170. She gave you a lead time on, you understood that was, how much was it?
Well,
30.
there's not.
No,
that's
this
on
is
the
not on
election.
there. Okay, that's on the other.
Yes.
Okay.
This one.
You'll just go up, utilities, we'll just go backwards up.
Okay, maintenance upgrade, whole place. I don't really,
I think that's ain't that the rental?
no, that's on up, and then,
No. Okay, rental. folks.
You got training,
training, and that. We didn't use that, I guess just keep that there. Printing, that's probably for the ballots, print the ballots. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking. Postage, Oh my goodness. That was,
ugly
last
last
year was terrible, but the state did reimburse on postage, so.
Yeah.
I don't think people really, I mean, every ballot that went out of here was, they paid for that, and then we paid postage on the return too. So some of that we had to pay out, but we got reimbursed.
So how much do we need to put in there for this time?
I think we just leave that, there's not anything there that, see, that's just something that's not normal. So what have we had before? There's not been anything in there before? Jenny?
Where are we at on?
They're at election postage.
Oh, I
Yeah.
know there was nothing in there. for
Nah.
last
Well,
year's
we need
budget.
to, we would have to pay a postage
I
to
don't
mail
know
them
if you've
out, but
seen this paper.
yeah, I'm not
Since I've been-
familiar with it,
I've
so.
not seen this since we've been.
We probably do need to look back and see,
That would have been your normal absentees.
yeah,
A regular year.
uh-huh. If we can look back at like, the last, if, for the next, time that we're together, if we could see, 2018's budgeted amount
Well,
for,
we're gonna be,
and
gotta
then-
just give another
Well, now,
line item for Jenny to look up. She's
and
I
got-
the
think-
cost of mailing ballots changed too.
Well, look at 2018's absentees and compare
well,
to
this
present.
is
cost of
printing
postage.
out on the appropriation condition report, but it's actually not in the budget. Like, there's no line item that says election postage in the budget.
Okay, we can get a number for that.
Yeah, we can definitely look at numbers and come up with it. It won't be, it wouldn't be. Well, then there's postal charges.
So are we're wanting to put election postage in the budget? Is that what you're saying?
Well, so postal charges and then election postage.
That to me, that looks like about the same thing.
Yeah,
That probably
I don't
is, so
understand
combine
that.
that. Take
I
out
just
that
need, well, I'm gonna, if we can look at the old and see what that,
Mhm.
and make sure we're around that same number.
yeah.
Why don't we just leave it under the postal charges? That's what's in the budget.
Take the election
And
postage.
then
out.
election
It's like
postage, just forget
$1.20.
about it.
Okay, and we'll make sure that that
It's not
number's.
in the budget anyway.
Yeah, it's
print
just
on
election.
this Appropriation.
And some of those, what does he see what the state's gonna do? Cause there is some, we still have envelopes that have postage paid, but I don't know that they're gonna,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Norma's like I think it's
Okay.
$1.20. Yeah, they're gonna take that back. Give us those envelopes
What
back.
would the cost of the mailing ballots, or the cost of, yeah.
To mail one out,
Mhm.
I believe it was $1.20, $1.20.
Hmm.
And I think, did the postage not go up in the middle of all that? Or was it say at $1.20 for ballots?
No, it went up because we had to get those
Reduce,
extra.
yeah.
Some of those had to get extra.
It started at $1.20, but
stamps.
then we had a postal cost.
Oh, I see what happened. That election postage, it looks like that's where that $10,000.
Is that, see, we had to load 10,000 onto the
To the
onto the
machine.
postage machine,
And I think that.
and then we got reimbursed.
$10,000
Yes.
reimbursement, so I bet she put that in there.
I know that Sherry loaded $10,000, and it was like a very like we had to get it like that quick, and she just was able to get money.
Well, we'll just run it through postal charges.
Okay.
Good.
Not normal.
Sounds good.
Not normal that we do that. So office supplies, I think that is fine. Looks like we don't need that much. Rentals, I think under rentals, would that include the, like the U-Haul rental to
Yes.
move the equipment and stuff?
Mhm.
Okay. And if we get the new machines, they're a lot smaller.
Mhm.
That's really awesome too.
We can just put them in the Yukon.
Yeah, we're selling the Yukon.
Sounds good.
Okay. Rental and polling places, that's where you're talking about, or they do get
And that may come down.
a very tiny amount of money. Yeah,
They don't get much.
I don't even know, I mean, they might probably not even, anyway, I think we have to pay them though. Maintenance and repair of voting machine, that is gonna come way down
Mhm.
if,
If we get new ones.
yeah, we get new.
Okay.
Contracts with private agencies, I would assume that's our heart vendor. That's what it looks like. And they do have obviously fees that they charge us to come out and set up the machines for every election. And then in the event that we did have a recount, they would be involved in all that too.
So is that a good number to leave it at?
I mean, for right now, but I don't think that it would be any more than that.
Well,
And it
like
might
this
come-
year, we spent 35,800.
Well, but they were so much more involved and they probably set up a lot
So you
more.
don't think that, okay.
I think it's because it was presidential.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I know. That's all I've been told is it costs a whole lot more to run the presidential. And like I said, this is my first time with this. So I don't have anything to compare it to.
What's warranty on that equipment? Is that all covered? Has to be something you don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
We'll look that up. Cause that's
Well, I
something
mean, I
too.
think, yeah, we have to negotiate. And I wonder if it's under, I'm sure we'll be doing new contracts with
Right.
them if we bought the new equipment.
And they can all present that when they.
Yes.
Okay, so advertising.
Advertising, I don't expect that. So, well, and I mean, that was expensive, you know, we did have the ballot was bigger. Yeah, I think we had more, what was it they told me, something, and then we have a different, you know, we have Barron County Progress now, where we had Glasgow Daily Times, and we had to advertise. We got reimbursement from the state. Remember, that might be why that's looking
Yeah,
good.
there's transfer.
Yes, the state gave us X amount of
And
money
marketing.
that had to be used for marketing. They wanted people to know where to go vote, and we had to advertise it every way possible. So we did run a lot more in the newspaper. We had to do the full page, and maybe, I feel like it was 2 pages that it took to run that ballot. And that was the general and the primary. And then we did radio advertising also. And that would not happen again in normal election cycle. You wouldn't have that. But due to the all the changes with the election process, the state provided, that's probably that 47, 38, 50 is probably all that
That's what
money.
that was. That was. that
And it could
meeting.
only be used for advertising.
I think 3 is probably will be good.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I wouldn't change it.
Okay.
Election commissioners, that would be your Pat Scott and Mike Harris, Democrat and Republican election commissioners. They get paid every day that they work, and then we have a monthly meeting. How'd that work out?
Well, it looks like we're,
Looks like we came right close to the, yeah, so that's fine too. And the election officers, that's your poll workers.
we did good on that.
We did really good on that. But if we would have had 25 precincts,
Yeah.
but I mean, we seriously had so many people that were not willing to work. I mean, you know, no one knew what to expect in the middle of the pandemic, and vaccines were definitely not available at that time. And a lot of our election officers are older individuals, and their families didn't want them exposed, and I didn't want them to be exposed either. But if they were willing to work, I, you know, really appreciated it. So that having voting centers made it a lot easier to get workers, because we didn't have to have as many.
So that may come down.
Yes, that definitely. And you can see, I mean, what we did and what we had, so.
Okay.
Are we gonna leave it that amount?
So I guess we're just, the only thing we're changing is that 170. Right?
7, and then your, yeah.
I mean, if we, the election officers, I feel like if, once we know what the Board of Elections chooses to do, you could change that, but it would probably wouldn't hurt for 1 year to leave it for another year. And then, you know, just hopeful that we definitely wouldn't be using that. But I think it's probably that amount because it was a presidential election. In normal cycles, you would have had more workers.
Okay.
All right.
So move on to the,
Now we go down to your main office down below.
Okay, well,
We talked to the other departments. We're just gonna talk about operational today and not any salaries today. So put you down at line item. Yes, training or something, and then we'll be talking about that at their meeting.
So we're picking up with training.
Property training looks like to me. would be
Okay.
your Next.
Well, I don't have a lot to say then. I guess.
For the expense allowance, which has been low because you haven't gone anywhere.
Yeah. I'm staying home. I don't, let me look.
Like to advertise, you think it's gonna stay the same since we just got the one local paper now?
Probably. Just because we only ever reported, we only like, whatever, the things that we have to put in the paper only went in one paper, which at that time was the Daily Times, so. And I feel like the Progress is gonna charge the same that they would have charged, so, yeah. It's, I don't feel like, I won't be able to go down on that just for, you know.
Well, and you have other modes of media that are different than print, that are a little pricier. So if anything, it could, you know, that's something that would go up in the future with the billboards that we have around town now and some different forms of media that are.
But the only thing we
Reaching
have to
more
use
people,
that
right.
advertising for is gonna be the mandated things you have to
Right.
put in the paper, like the
For the
audit.
tax sale and all that.
But tax sales, that's your real, that takes a lot. But last year we did really well on the tax bill. I feel like do you remember what we saw on the tax bill?
It was,
It's good.
it was quite a bit.
We get a good return on it. So I don't see anything but renewals and repairs. And we moved some money. I thought we moved more than this to back to whenever we did the
No,
3%.
we moved. That's what we moved right there for your salary increases that last time. I mean, that's quite a bit.
Which one item is that?
I just, any of them that
You
you
know,
see
anything that
transfers.
has parentheses
That-
around it is what.
We had to come up with $15,000
Okay.
and it just pretty much took it all out of. So, one of the girls broke her chair and I was like, sorry. You got your 3% raise, you don't get a new chair, they go find one in the back. I mean, you know, I took the money out to do that because I didn't have it, you know, it's not anywhere. I mean, it was already pretty tight anyway, so.
So one of my questions, the appropriation, what, for fee pooling and for each department, like where does that, is that a percentage for each, or like the 650,000, is that just based on these line items, what that comes out to? Do you try to shoot for a specific amount?
No, it's just what these line items
Okay.
are.
Because we're, for 2021, we're looking, that paper that I gave everybody. First, the fiscal part is at the top. For 1920 fiscal, we were at about 1.3. And at this time last year, we were about 958,000, almost 959. And this time now, we're about 18% higher on excess fees. That is an estimate for March. I think it's going to be about 160. Of course, we've had a big
We had a
farm
great,
bill year,
yeah.
month, and March has been really good to us. And
we had a number of individuals in 20 that just didn't renew their tags, their registrations and pay their property tax on their vehicles because the governor had an extension in place and through October. So we're seeing people that are coming in now and they're having to pay 20 and 21 taxes on their vehicles because they didn't come in 20. And it wasn't that we weren't open.
Right.
They
Right.
just didn't do it. And the law enforcement didn't pull folks over because the extension was in place, but now they are getting pulled over and they are coming in because, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I know.
Billy, you didn't renew your tag?
Who?
I heard somebody the other day, they're doing phone court. Like if you don't go to court, but they actually call you on the
I
phone.
think they go from Hey, go.
What did you?
That's too funny.
We could have had Nancy get it for you.
Hey, please stop me out there, cause
Jaywalking.
the boy run over.
Oh, boy, we're over you.
no.
The police, you can see mine was out of that. A year.
So now, Billy, you're gonna pay 2 years of tax.
Oh. What?
That's too
That's
funny.
why
I
we
hope
get some raises. Billy ain't paying tax. Lord have
Oh,
mercy.
man.
Yeah.
He said, this meeting ain't about me.
This subject.
But, so we're good this year so far. The storage fees, which I know Helena is very proud of because.
I'm
that's-
excited, and I want y'all to pay attention to this. This is money, 100% money that stays in Barron County. We don't have to give this to anybody, and we did not have this money before January 1 of 2020. This is money we've never had before, so pay attention to that. Go ahead, Tater. Take it, Tater.
You just called me Tater.
And the movie. Okay, go
Oh,
ahead.
man.
Miss
I'm
Ryan.
fried.
I think I introduced you as
Yes,
Missy
you
Hurt.
did, you did. So for 1920 fiscal year, that's kind of a moot number because we didn't have those fees, but for 6 months of that fiscal year, that started in January 2020. So for 1920, the 1920 fiscal year, we had 21,220 at this point in the game. And today we have about 77,360.
For the
So-
fiscal year. And we still have 3 months to go. I'm real excited about that money, and I would love to see y'all give me some of it.
We couldn't tell.
You can't tell. You're not talking loud enough.
77.
Yes, that is where we are now from July 1 to
That we've
3/31.
never seen.
Never seen before.
So we're looking at, even if we shoot low and bring in about 8,000 for the next 3 months, we're gonna hit the 100,000, and we feel confident we'll surpass the 100,000.
Every document that is recorded in Barron County or any county in Kentucky has a $10 storage fee. And that money, the legislators changed the laws. They increased across the state recording fees and added that $10 document fee on to help county clerks with the cost of storing these documents, paying their employees, and maintaining the records. It's expensive to do these things. And we, in our recording department, are looking at a few changes to just have our extra backup. And we're looking at that right now with our vendor software management. And I don't have the cost of that, but it's something we're going to have to do to be in compliance with libraries and archives. There's a little bit, I just got involved in it in February, and then, got into March and all that busyness, and then got COVID. So they've sent me some emails, and I don't have numbers yet, but I will be getting those soon. But some counties are making a line item on the county clerk's budget for storage fee and allowing some of that to stay in their budget so that they can use it in the year. Not all of that, because it's hard to guesstimate how much we would get, but we can kind of look at what we've gotten and go from there. But every document we record, and I don't think we're gonna stop recording documents anytime soon, you're gonna get that $10 fee that is gonna stay here. We don't give any of that to the state or anybody.
Right, that's a mandatory fee. That's not a donation, not a, do you want to make a donation to this payment? That, we're continuing to record. The recordings department has largely carried, when vehicles were down, when the dealerships were
Last
shut
year-
down, when people weren't paying their tags and taxes,
They were,
recordings really carried.
every time you
a lot of the weight.
refinance, anything you do that changes the document, we get $10.
So, and then, I'm sorry. go ahead.
I'm sorry, any other line item that you got here that we talked about on your operation? Y'all don't want to increase any of your, on the operational, because y'all have not answered for anything that I see. So
I mean, I would really, I don't know if it's a furniture and a fixture, but I would love to see that flooring behind where the girls are, the carpet, I believe that's been there since 2001. And I know that through maintenance, you all were able to lay some tile out front. We didn't pay for that. I don't know how that just came through the building or something. Okay, I just think we need to, maybe we could clean it or change, like match that tile and go ahead and do it behind the counter, but it would be really nice if that is very, very, it had a lot of traffic since
Do you
2001.
like carpet or would you rather have like a tile?
Well, I mean, it's tile on the outside, and I
Right.
thought maybe if that tile is still available before it, changes up, if we could just, you can match it.
Probably not.
Not, well,
Just mix and match.
it's a standard, we didn't get anything fancy, we just got like a beige. Yeah, I mean, it would, if we had a tile, we wouldn't have to have those, chair mats, because those are what, $40 a piece or something. I've got three need replacing, and I was like, not this fiscal year. July 1st, we'll order
Does
this
that
now.
need to go in? Talking to maintenance committee, or we need to add?
And I know that we had someone that was supposed to come and clean, they didn't come.
Clean what, the carpet?
Yeah. The carpet. Remember, because they cleaned up here? You had the carpet cleaned up here, and they were supposed to,
I put her in charge of that.
and they just never, they came and looked, and I think they gave you all a price, maybe.
Well,
they
I
did.
would think it'd be easier to keep tile.
Yeah, I mean,
With what we've been dealing with this last year.
it is very,
So I don't know what, Mark, you and Billy, we need, whether it has to get a line item in hers or in the
I mean, if we could, yeah,
that needs to be basically a floor
yeah. I would,
and get rid of 20-year-old carpet. If that's what
Do that.
and I don't know if that's me or if that's
That is-
y'all, but that's, you asked what I
I
like.
don't know,
I'm
we
like,
need to know right now, or at least.
We need a quote.
yeah,
Right, but where are we,
Where that.
what
needs to
line
be.
item? Is it her line item? Okay. Other than that, that's.
Then you got your accumulated leave time.
Yeah.
we added that. I think they did that when you were coming back in.
Yeah.
The only other thing that and I don't know if y'all would even consider this, but it is something, I know it would be, I had talked with, Dennis, like one of my first few months down there, and I asked about it, and I did get a quote a long time ago from a contractor for painting the walls, and I know some of the wall did get, when they changed the, what do you call that, when they did the ceramic?
No, the baseboard.
Baseboards, they changed that out, so it looks so pretty. You've got clean baseboards, pretty tile, and then we've got, the walls, they really could use painting, and we've got a few places where it ripped, the drywall, there's nothing wrong with it, but it just, it just happens when you tear that off. It's been there a long time. So I know there would be probably $4,000 to paint the whole office and, just brighten it up a little bit, change it, make it clean looking. I don't know. I don't have right words, but I just think it would be nice to freshen it up a little bit. It's not going to hurt anything. I think it helps your facility, keep it.
I had a question. I noticed on the county clerk auditing services,
Yes,
that line at $15,000.
we pay this, that's to the state auditors, they charge
Nothing.
us. Well, because they've not finished any of our audits.
I emailed Jamie, our auditor.
We
have not done the exit for 2019.
They
yet,
never
and I'm not
exited.
sure
I
why.
haven't got our agent on that either.
Okay, we've already gotten our motor vehicle for 2020 done just last month,
just,
but
but
2019, and I've emailed Jamie several times. There were a few things that she needed to get from SMI, and I made sure. everybody followed
normally
up.
the auditors come in and they stay here and do the audit. They won't come. They call you and you have to scan and email everything, or you can box it up and they'll pick it up, but they won't come in and do it. And then,
So I do not know what is holding up for
Yeah.
2019, and I reached out again actually Monday, it's Friday or Monday to see.
eventually that will be used, but they will,
Yeah, I would think. so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they will bill us.
we just don't know when.
I would think so, because you'd be required to have an audit.
Absolutely.
every
And we
so-
did great on our motor vehicle audit, but
My
it was just,
question would be,
I
if
still don't
we're
think
not gonna get billed for it in in this fiscal year.
Ooh.
We need to double it.
Double it.
And-
Unless we might email them and say, hey,
Yeah,
look, you're
that's
gonna
what we're
mess up
gonna-
our budget.
Yeah. Because Glenna's gonna have to come back and everything.
Yeah. Because
To
she
do,
was
you know,
still
'cause she was
here.
For that, so I'll check, I'll follow up with that.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's,
What?
ask
Oh,
her
yeah.
about if they could exit us before the end of the.
How old is that proposal you got on this paint?
I wish I'd have brought it up here. It,
Oh, I thought you had it.
it's in my, I have it. I just don't have it on me. It was, is it Wyatt's painting? He came in and, I mean, he did a very thorough, like, estimate. He looked at everything and that was trim, everything got painted. And I rounded it, it was 4,000 with the paint. And he is, you know, insured and everything. It was like.
Has
4,000 and
anything since your term, we've been in about 2.5 years, as far as any kind of painting or any kind of
No.
extra cleaning been done in your office?
No, we did during the election have extra, the judge did get Serve Pro to come and do the,
Right.
but they wiped surfaces. They didn't do like, they wiped the outside of the, like where the voters went through. And that helped. I mean, you know, I touched 11,000 people in November and did COVID, but I get it in March. I don't know how that works, but
It did help, but kudos to the voter helpers that we had.
oh my
because
goodness, we cleaned it.
They had a pen in one hand and a Lysol or a clean, or whatever
Yeah.
they were using to disinfect.
Yeah,
They were awesome about keeping everything really clean.
We
But
wiped
as far
everything
as like deep clean,
no.
no.
You all, I appreciate this list that you put out here showing what you've done, because we would have never knew that. And
Well,
maybe all the other.
when we were
board members
talking
should get a
about
copy of
this
that.
morning, I was said, and Missy, that's one thing that she's so awesome at is she prints, I said, I want to take this with
Well,
me
you
to
don't
the.
retain things that are just thrown at you. I have to have something in front of me, and you put pen to paper and say, hey, this is pretty impressive, you know, you want to show it off. So,
Well, and I appreciate y'all doing this in person instead of Zoom, because I think we lose things. I know we've done Zoom, that's great that we can do it, but I think it's best to go in front of each other, so.
and those numbers at the bottom, I know you all are on the fiscal mindset. Our SMI budget runs calendar year. So I just wanted to include that for 2020 and 2021 budget was just kind of, let's throw some dice out and see what numbers come up, is what it felt like. But
You did
I was
now.
very conservative for 2021 because we don't know. We don't know if people are going to lose jobs, get jobs, gas is going up. You just don't know. So the budget for amount for 2021 was about 11.6, as you see there. After, again, this is approximate, but we should be pretty close. For 2021, that first quarter, we're looking at about 4.1 million, and that is already 35% of that year. So we're, you know, if we were at the 25%, we'd be even, and anything above that's icing on the cake. So hopefully that trend will continue.
We stay excited, and the stimulus money did help citizens of Barron County that needed vehicles to come in, and they purchased vehicles. But if you notice, a lot of our car dealerships, especially our smaller ones, have struggled in getting vehicles because they're selling at auction above NADA, and then, you know, people can't buy them, you know, and so it's been a struggle, but we love supporting those folks and bringing in those transfers. And our large dealers, I mean, they mean so much to us here and have helped carry us through, you know, the hard times and help us keep our revenue up.
And I'm kind of a stalker because I listen and they don't always know I'm listening, but you talk about the shortage of the inventory. I don't know if you've noticed on your car tags this year, some of those
And you have
taxes have gone up on those vehicles
trucks and SUVs.
because of the lack of inventory.
Because
And
our
cars
large
not-
manufacturers didn't produce vehicles, they shut down factories. Ford Motor Company, GMC. So Department of Revenue sent out a letter from the state stating that, you know, when voters come in, I'm stuck on voters. When customers come in and they say, why is my vehicle assessed at, you know, $50,000 and it's a, you know,
Supply and demand.
yeah.
It has driven the tax up.
And last year it was $42,000.
Hmm.
We got that over and over, and then finally Revenue sent out a statement saying why,
Mhm.
and that was why. Yeah.
But they've
So we
handled that
got
beautifully. I was just pointing that out because those girls have, I've heard that question asked a million times and they've handled that beautifully.
Yeah,
I
My
just
staff
want to
is
say I appreciate the way that you run your office.
thank
I
you.
think it's very professionally run.
Appreciate that.
I hear nothing but
Thank you. Thank you. I've got a great staff and I know we're not talking about it right now, but do what? I
The
try to,
addition of Misty to your crew.
Oh my
has been
gosh.
Awesome.
I mean,
Yes.
you know, to get a
Yes.
bookkeeper to come in, you know, Glenna Bacon had 25 years of experience and I didn't expect to lose her in the pandemic. It was like the year they just kept giving. And,
Take it away. Yeah.
real. So, she just came one day and she's like, I can't do this anymore. And I was like, what? Like, you don't like your paper or computer? She's like, no, I can't wear this mask and these gloves. And I was just devastated. And then I remembered it, as you know, we cut up pretty big, but we've known each other since 3rd grade and we've been a lot like sisters. And I knew that I knew her so well and I knew what type of great person she is and what a great addition she would be. And we had kind of done it around a little bit back, even when I was running for office.
That was forever ago.
Oh,
and I never
forever,
thought
feels
twice
like.
about it.
Yeah, she's like,
I was
yeah.
sitting on the back deck, Johnny said, Helena's calling you, and she stays so busy that, I mean, we live right here, but we talk more when I lived in Nashville than, you know, we did when I
I
moved
was a
back.
county clerk back then.
And, yeah,
That's what my
And,
husband said.
but it worked out, and
I'm glad. I mean, she's been a fast learner, and if you see these things, like this is just the beginning of what we, you know, will produce for y'all. So I think it's a
I
great
appreciate
team.
that.
Thank you all.
She's brought some much needed energy.
Absolutely. And all the staff, you know, we've got a great staff. I did lose another employee who went to a different employer for more money. The first year, someone that's been with me a long time, and it was, to me, it was a big loss, but we've made it. Taylor Woodson is my one of my part-time girls, been with me since the beginning of my term, and she is working temporary full-time right now, and I'm grateful that she was able to do that with her. She's in college, but she was able to do full-time because of online stuff, but I just can't keep losing these good employees, and so I want y'all to think about
Yeah,
that.
we are thinking hard.
I know.
Rich text message.
I'll echo Mark. We appreciate what you're doing, but we will, as a committee, we're gonna be committed to be looking at what you're asking in each department head to what it takes to keep quality people. And
And look at what we're
we're gonna be
doing.
working on that. So thank you
That is
for coming.
much
All right.
Thank y'all, appreciate you.
Is this ready to adjourn on our meeting? Judge?
Yes, you can.
Okay,
Adjourn.
Mark, I need a motion. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second
Mark second, all in favor, say aye. Meeting's over.
You talked about this.
Right.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Jamie.
That's my grandpa.
Did you?
I'd come bring
Yeah,
to the
sure.
grocery store and you come bring that
Oh,
grocery.
your mom's
Donna.
Oh,
Appreciate you,
Senator, if you can know this,
Yep.
I'm glad you said something.
this is a question for down the road. I asked my girls, I didn't have it on here.